Vietnam has been very good to a lot of teachers, to be honest, very good to a lot of teachers. But despite this, it comes with certain challenges that I feel that teachers should know. You should know this so that you decide. I don't want you to get trapped like some of us got trapped or other people got trapped. It's always good to know. Once you know, you prepare and then you psych yourself. Vietnam, most teachers are kept hostage. In Vietnam, most teachers are kept hostage. So your agent or your company will find a way to lock your legalized certificate. They'll find a way because they are supposed to go and do your TLC and your work permit for you. And so in the process, they will lock your document and wouldn't want to give it to you back again. And that is a way of keeping teachers hostage. Once they do that, it means something bad can happen in the future. Now you're supposed to have your passport with you anytime. That's for identification, for banking transactions, for a lot of things. But some of them will prefer to keep it because they want to ill-treat you. Once you have that, you get yourself in such a mess. I have a video detailing how to get your document from, how I retrieved mine from my agent. So I'm going to link that video to in the description. Just click it and it will give you the strategies to use. So take notes. Take note. If you are having an interview, you try and open. Sometimes they won't tell you. So you bring it up. Are you going to seize my document or I will get to keep my document? If they are going to keep your document and you have other companies, just forget about them. Just forget about them. But if you're also able to open up, sometimes they will tell, oh no, we won't keep your document. Even if they will keep it, they will tell you no because they know that you are informed and that you know what happens. But if you don't know, that is when they will take advantage and try to use some tricks to, get your document. But hey guys, if this is your first time, I have the first video that I spoke about must know before coming to Vietnam. You can also watch that too. If you haven't watched that, try and watch that before you watch this because it's going to be a transition. Most centers promise you hours that they can get for you. Most centers in Vietnam or even schools, they will promise you hours that they mostly don't get for you. So for instance, they mostly promise you 100 hours. But then the school or the center that brought you in do not necessarily have that kind of hours. So if they promise you 100 hours, what they need to do is that they need to look elsewhere for other public schools that you go and teach, and then they will mark you and then they will add all to your 100 hours. Some of them, if they are not able to find that 100 hours, then now you don't get the promised salary. You don't get the promised salary. So now they begin to do some deduction and subtractions, which they never discuss with you. So they told you they are going to pay you a certain amount of money, let's say $1,000 or let's say $1,200 for every month for 100 hours. It is their responsibility to find you the hours. If they are unable to find you, they should still pay you the promised amount. But it doesn't happen like that in Vietnam. You come and they tell you, no, I won't give you what you haven't worked for. And if you press further, they tell you that I pay you based on what I am paid. And so if you haven't paid me, I don't have. And if you don't take it like that, it can, your two of you, your relationship is going to degenerate and it's going to cause a whole lot of mess. And so that is one thing that you need to know. If a school is hiring you, you can put that question to them. There are few schools and centers that even when they don't get you the needed hours, they will still pay you the actual. Few schools, very few. So, it's always better when you are being interviewed, you ask them, what if you don't get me the 100 hours? What happens? Because it's your doing, it's not my doing. And let's see what comes out of it. But I want you to know that in Vietnam, they don't pay you with the actual conversion of the dollar. So they have their own conversion of the dollar. I think it's 25,000 or so. Yeah, 25,000. Whether the dollar appreciate or not, they still pay you the same amount. The same amount. So they can be paying you $1,000, but the money that you get in VND, I mean, they can be paying you the value of $1,000, but the money that you get, if you make the conversion using the current conversion rate, you see that it is below $1,000, and you can't do anything about it. I mean, it's general in Vietnam. That's what they do in Vietnam. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. They have their own way of converting money. They have a certain fixed rate that they have set. I don't know who did that, but it's there. I've spoken to a lot of people and they tell me that's what is happening to them. So they've actually paid you $1,000, but in actual fact, looking at, I mean, the depreciation, the money is not up to $1,000. So that is one thing, a hidden secret people don't get to know, and they only get to notice it in Vietnam. So a teacher came and was telling me that he had wanted to quit because he's not getting the promised amount. But on book, it's like that. Yeah, that's it. In Vietnam, you don't get the actual money, the actual salary that is on the book, because they convert it and pay you the value of the dollar. But in actual sense, they have their own conversion rate that they use, which does not give you exactly as on the stock market or on the currency stock, whatever. So that is it. This is a second ugly secret that you should know about teaching and working in Vietnam.
Hey guys, if you've enjoyed this video so far, please do me a huge favor and hit the like button and subscribe. These videos take quite a long time to make, so if you could help me out, I'll love you forever. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get back to this crazy story.
Number 3 is that in Vietnam, you don't get your salary at the start of the month or at the end of the month, as happens elsewhere. Like me, I was shocked. So now we are in December. I'm going to take my December salary in January 15th. It is the same everywhere. Those who get it earlier get it like on the 10th. I mean, some schools who try to pay you earlier will pay you like on the 10th of the next month. So always there's a carry forward. Always there's a carry forward. They owe you. So one dirty thing is that if a center is owing you and you want to stop teaching there, or let's say if your center is always, it takes time before paying you or is not paying you. By the time you realize, they will be owing you like 3 months, because this month they told you that, oh teacher, today things are not very well, so next month so the next month is the middle of the next 2 months. So by the time you realize, you have worked for like 3-4 months without salary, and because they owe you, living becomes extremely difficult. So you will say that, okay, let me wait and take my salary, and you'll be waiting till the middle of the subsequent month. So I don't know, but Vietnamese are used to it. So that's it. To me, it's a very ugly secret that is in Vietnam. So guys, when you are coming, you sack yourself. So all the money that we send at the end of the month is not our salary. That is last month's salary. That's last month's salary. So that's it. Vietnam always pay carry forward. Always. Hey, is that correct? The right terminology, carry forward. Yes, maybe carry forward. Yeah. So that is ugly secrets number. Is it number 3? Yes, I think number 3. You only get paid when you work. This one will vary from company to company and company policies. But in most of the companies, most of the centers, most of the agents, if you don't work, you don't get paid. And regardless of what happens to you, you still don't get paid. So for instance, you were going to school and something happened, you were involved in an accident. Like last time, for instance, I was going to teach and my tie busted. So if you are going to school and your tie busted, and for any genuine reasons you don't teach, but it wasn't intentional, you still not be paid. Forget about the excuse you have. Even if you die, even if you fall sick and you don't teach, you won't be paid. Like I said, there are some few companies that are human centered. For them, they know that, oh, you are sick. Few of them But the problem is that if you don't go, they'll have to call in a cover teacher, and they have to pay that cover teacher. So it's assumed that they are using the same money to pay you to pay a cover teacher. So that's it. You should take note. In Vietnam, you can't give any excuses for not going to work. No excuses. No excuses. Because if you don't work, you won't get paid. Yeah. But some companies are different. Very few companies. But most of the companies, they are like that. So that is another thing you should know as an ESL teacher who in Vietnam, or you are now coming, or you are recently in, or whatever. You should know this. So in Vietnam, most of the centers prefer white people. They prefer white people with blue eyes. People with blue eyes and that white skin. Yeah. So in Vietnam, if you're a white person, you have a lot of advantage. People like us, we need to prove a point. Like if you stand a competition with a white teacher, the white teacher will be taken ahead of you because parents prefer white teachers, and white teachers bring the money. Bring a lot of money. Exactly. So it's an ugly secret in Vietnam here. Maybe people don't talk about it, but it's a fact. Even when people are advertising, they put it some intentionally put it in there. Yeah. So that is it. I earlier mentioned that in Vietnam you get paid for how long you teach or how many hours you teach. Now don't forget the educational calendar in Vietnam is not 360. So there is a summer break of around 3 months. 3 solid months, and in that month public schools are off. Even some centers are off. In fact, we have some few centers in Hanoi that organize summer camp, that they also recruit teachers, but I mean that is not a big deal. I thought it was a big deal until last year. It's not a big deal. Even in countryside, most of them, centers and public schools, all off. Maybe the big cities like Tay Ho and other places, Medellin and other places, that is where you can get those summer camp. I mean, and those ones, yeah, that's why they recruit few teachers. But the fact is that most people don't have job in summer holidays for the solid 3 months. Solid. And those months, your teacher is not going to pay you. Your school is not going to pay you. Your agent is not going to pay you. So I recently got a new offer that I was talking to them about, and I wanted to be sure, and that they told me, yes, human, we can't pay you because you're not working. I'm like, then I can't work. Then it makes no sense leaving my company to join you if summer holidays you can't pay me. If you say I'm so valuable like you are saying, then you need to pay for me. Let me stay in the house, because it's not my fault that it's a holiday. But that is a fact. 3 months for summer holidays, you don't get to pay. You don't get to be paid. Plus a week or more for TET holidays. So in TET holidays too, we have about a week and some days break. School is completely off. Everything is off. Everybody's in a festive mood. Everybody visits the family, and what happens? This is the time that you don't even get something to buy. So those visiting Hanoi and stuff on TET holidays, be careful. On TET holidays, you don't even get food to buy. Every shop is closed. They've all gone for holidays. Now on TET holidays too, teachers don't get to be paid. You don't get. So if you add that week and some days to the 3 months and some days, you are approaching like, plus some holidays, 1, 2, 3 holidays in there. So all these holidays, zero. So technically in Vietnam, working, you only work for, let's say, 7 months, if not 6. Yeah, 7 months, if not 6 months. That is technically what you work in a year. That is the working year in Vietnam that you get paid. For the rest of the month, you don't get paid. So if you are somebody who doesn't know how to save, who doesn't know how to go around things, look for centers, be smart, all those things, then you are going to be left struggling or smiling at the wrong side of your mouth like this. The next worst thing in Vietnam is, I said in the first video that you need to learn how to ride a bike in Vietnam. Like in Vietnam, a bike is the major source of transportation. Everybody can ride a bike. And because of that, most teachers are on the risk of motor accident. Now, if you work in a public school, sometimes you can ride like 15 kilometers to your destination. Sometimes in the morning you teach in a school, and in the afternoon you teach in another school. That school can be like sometimes 20 kilometers, 15 kilometers, 12 kilometers, and sometimes very long, and sometimes, especially in the countryside, you'll be riding and riding and riding and riding. And because you are riding, you are prone to motor accident. And so, if you are a teacher in Vietnam, you are prone to motor accident. You are likely to have an accident. Yeah, you are likely to have an accident. It can happen to you at any time, because accident may not necessarily be your doing. Last time I was driving and somebody just behind me just knocked my back, So it can happen from any side. Plus the fact that in Vietnam they are allowed to drive while surfing a mobile phone. Like, I find so weird. In my country, even if you are driving and you hold a phone, you'll be arrested. You will be arrested. But in Vietnam, it's not like that. A lot of people will be riding and will be surfing the internet. Like, who does that? Yeah, but it's done here. It's very popular in here. I'm not saying the authorities are trying their best to clamp down on some of these things without helmets, without this, without that. They've even set up, they have something they call instant court or something. Instant court. Once the police see you don't have helmet, you are not conforming to the traffic rules, they are going to arrest you and you pay a fine. They have a traffic police. They have the main police and they have a traffic police. The traffic police usually put on is a pink kind of dress, So they are doing their best. But looking at the population of Vietnamese and everyone with a bike, it's very difficult. Yes, it's very difficult. And so if you are a teacher, long distance riding, going to long places with motorbikes. So, back elsewhere, it's not like that. Back in Europe, in America, in Africa, in Canada, all those areas, it's totally different. You mostly go to work with a bus, a train. In worst case scenario, that is when you go with a bike. You don't see a bike. We have bikes, but not on that. And people will not even take a bike to work. Elsewhere it's not. But here, like when you go to workplaces, everybody has a bike, everyone. And majority of the people will go to work with a bike. Buses and trains, they are there, but they are not, people don't board them a lot. So if you're a teacher in Vietnam, that's also another ugly truth you need to know, that you need to learn how to ride your bike very well, because if you don't learn how to ride very well, you are going to be in a lot of troubles. Trouble with accidents, getting to school early and all those stuff, So that is the next ugly truth that you need to know. And the next one is that in Vietnam, most agents and schools, your work permit and your TLC, you pay for them yourself. Most of them, they will ask you to pay. In worst case scenario, they will just divide it and they will tell you they will take half and you will take half. That's what happens in Vietnam. But work permit is supposed to be catered for by the company or the agent, because it technically belongs to the company that brought you or the agent. But they won't pay it alone. They will divide it. That is the best case scenario. The rest, they'll ask you to pay yourself, or they will pay for you and later deduct all the money from your salary. So that is another worst thing in Vietnam, but it is happening. So guys, thank you for watching and listening. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I have a lot of educational content that if you want to teach or if you live and teach in Vietnam, I think will be very beneficial to you. So guys, do well to subscribe, share the videos, like, and leave your comment behind the videos. I may do a video on the comment that you leave. Sometimes I do that. I look at the videos and I answer some of the questions because are tailored towards certain angle. So guys, I hope I said the most. If there are any other that I left out, I'm sure I left others, I'll leave it in the comment section. Later time, I'll also do a video on that. My name is Kweku Sikeni Abrante. Thanks for watching. It's a bye for today.